Every man's dream is to have arms so big that they bust through the sleeves. Bigger, wider biceps, thick horseshoe triceps, guns that make people stare longer than they should and make women want to put their arms around them. Let's be real, a pair of well-built arms is something to admire, no matter who you are. So let's talk about adding a few inches to your arm measurements, shall we? Don't forget to tell your tailor to leave some room in the arms, because you're following the Muscle Monster's 5 ways to build bigger arms fast video. So let's get into the 5 tips. The first is to train with the correct number of sets per week for you until you see progress. And don't worry, we're not just going to tell you to do more and leave you hanging. Instead, here's a scientific approach to determine how much you need to do to see more significant gains. But first, it's essential to understand that individual responses to bicep training vary widely. For example, some people see massive gains with a fixed number of sets, while others see little gains with the same volume. Why is this? This 2005 research paper that included 342 women and 243 men looked at bicep growth using a unilateral elbow flexion, which is bending the arm like you're doing a bicep curl. After 12 weeks of progressive dynamic resistance training, they saw an arm size change between 0.4 to 13.6 centimeters. You heard that right. Some people lost gains, while others made massive gains. Why is that, you ask? The people who lost gains may have been overtraining and unable to recover. On the flip side, the protocol used in the study may have been perfect for those who saw major gains. So what's the takeaway? You must experiment to discover what your biceps respond to best. Is it 6 sets per week, 8 sets per week, or 12 sets per week? Don't just follow Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler, or follow your jacked buddy's workout program. Test, track, and measure to find out what works best for you. Here are a few things to track to see if you're making progress. Number 1, monthly arm measurements. Number 2, increases in reps, at least every second or third week. Number 3, strength gains at least once per month. Number 4, your level of soreness throughout the month. And here are a few scenarios that will show you if you're on the right track or need more sets. If you haven't seen any size increases and you're never sore or tired, you need to add more sets per week. On the other hand, if you do not see any increases in reps or load, your arms aren't growing and you're always tired and sore, you might be doing too much and would benefit from reducing sets per week. Finding the sweet spot of volume and frequency will yield the greatest gains. This is best measured in challenging training sets per week, as shown in this research paper by Baz-Valle and others. You can adjust sets in each session. If you're adding and feel you're already doing too much in a single session, consider adding additional days where you train your arms. More on this in the following tips. Also, some people see more significant gains with lighter loads and higher reps, while others may progress better with heavier loads and lower reps. So the theme continues. Experiment and find what volume and frequency give you bigger arms. Number 2, the second tip is using the right combination of exercises and techniques. The arm moves and functions in various ways and can involve more than one joint. In other words, specific movements target muscle groups to a greater degree than others. For example, there are multiple actions across the elbow and shoulder joints involving the bicep brachii. The bicep brachii is one of 3 muscles that flex the elbow in the brachialis and brachioradialis. It is one of 3 muscles that flex the shoulder along with the coracobrachialis and anterior deltoid, and one of 2 muscles that supinate the forearm. That may have sounded complicated, but the point is moving your arms in specific ways or during particular exercises bias bicep and tricep muscles more effectively. Here are a few form tips that will help you with your arm gains. The first tip is to include a bit of shoulder flexion in your bicep curl. As you curl, drive your elbow forward and up slightly to add shoulder flexion to the bicep curl. As mentioned before, the bicep is one of the muscles involved with shoulder flexion. Therefore, adding shoulder flexion can help bicep training. The following are more arm exercise combinations that'll target all arm muscles. You can do these throughout the week if you can afford to add more arm volume to your plan. Barbell curl, hammer curl, skull crushers, tricep extensions. Spider curls, incline supination curls, overhead extensions, diamond push-ups. Drag curls, reverse curls, close grip bench press, tricep kickbacks. These exercises target both muscles of the biceps and all 3 heads of the tricep. Number 3. Tip number 3 is to alter compound exercises to be more arms focused. One example is to perform more supinated chin-ups instead of pronated pull-ups. Since both exercises target the back, the supinated chin-up has greater bicep involvement. By making this swap, you are indirectly increasing your bicep training. The second example is to do a slightly narrow bench press grip. And we don't mean going narrow here, but if you're accustomed to a fairly wide bench press grip, using a slightly narrower grip, say just outside of shoulder width, can help further involve the triceps. The example with the bench press also applies with dips. Again, using a slightly narrower width on the dip bars will activate the triceps. This tricep activation is further emphasized if you keep your body more upright, since that increases flexion at the elbow, leading to a greater range of motion on the triceps. If you genuinely want a training phase that takes your arm gains to the next level, continue to look for alterations you can make to compound exercises that further emphasize the arms. Number 4. Tip number 4 is to use supersets to add arm volume. If you already feel like you spend too much time in the gym, adding supersets is a time-efficient way to supplement volume. It also has aerobic benefit since it elevates effort and heart rate for longer periods. For example, you can add bicep curls to your bench press or a tricep extension to your pull-up sets. Pair exercises of opposing muscle groups to allow one muscle group to recover while the other is being trained. Since you can pair supersets without adding rest between sets, you can add more volume without extending the time of your workouts. It's also a much bigger pump when you have several muscle groups experiencing blood flow simultaneously. Supersets can be done with opposing muscle groups but can also be done with separate muscle groups. For example, when you train your core with cable crunches, you can superset those with tricep extension since you're already on the cable machine. The superset combinations are limitless and can help make massive arm gains without much more time spent in the gym. Number 5. The 5th tip is eat to grow. Let's face it, if you're not eating to grow, you're hampering your gains no matter how hard you train. So you want bigger arms, but you're not giving them the building blocks to build muscle tissue. That doesn't work. Here are 2 key nutrition tips you've probably heard a bunch of times but can likely still improve. Number 1, consume the right total calories to build new muscle tissue. And 2 is to consume sufficient protein to support muscle growth consistently. Dialing in the first tip is similar to experimenting with the tracking sets per week mentioned in tip 1. But again, you need to track and adjust until you find your sweet spot. If you're gaining too much fat, you need to dial your calories back. But conversely, if you're not seeing any weight gain and visible muscle growth, you need to increase your calorie intake. Most lifters have been given the guideline of between 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight per day when it comes to protein. If you're already a relatively lean person, say under 20% body fat, this is a good rule of thumb. Unfortunately, 0.8 to 1 gram per pound can be impractical for larger individuals with higher body fat percentages. Calculating protein intake based on lean body mass can be useful for lifters with higher body fat percentages of over 20%. This can be done by subtracting your weight and body fat, say 20% of your total body weight, and then multiplying the remaining lean body mass by 1 gram of protein. Once you have your total protein intake in place, distributing that intake between 3 to 5 meals per day is perfect for optimizing your overall gains, including your arm gains. Let's summarize what we discussed in this video. Number 1, training with the right number of challenging sets per week specifically for you. Number 2, use the right combination of exercises to target all muscle groups in the arms. Number 3, alter your compound exercises to target the arms further. Number 4, use supersets to add arm sets into your workouts. And number 5, consume sufficient total calories and protein to grow. If you follow these 5 tips, you're guaranteed to have your arms hugging, busting the sleeves in no time. Let's get it. Did you find this video helpful? If so, click the like button below as it'll genuinely help out the channel. If your training and nutrition are in order and you're looking for a bit of an edge, be sure to check out my science-based supplement line. Each product was created using scientifically proven ingredients, all clinically dosed and guaranteed to produce results. Right now, you can get 25% off your entire order, plus free shipping by using the coupon code MONSTER at checkout. So head over to musclemonsters.com/supplements or click the link in the description. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe for more videos, and don't forget to turn on post notifications so you don't miss the next one. Peace.